How is it poppin', guys? I know it's been a while since my last upload. A lot of stuff came up. In fact, a brand new Nintendo console was released during this time. Yes, the Switch 2 is finally out and I've gotten a lot of hours out of it already. This video is actually about the Switch 2 and what this means for the future of Xenoblade as a whole. I did a similar video for 2024 predictions and I got Xenoblade X Definitive Edition right, so we take those. But now we are already in the middle of 2025, so it's not so much about predicting the year and more about predicting what the Switch 2 could mean for Xenoblade going forward. You see, I think most games were held back on the old Switch hardware, and I'm not just talking about resolutions and frame rate. We could actually get massive interactive cities going forward, and Microsoft kinda hinted at this already. But what does this mean for the next Xenoblade game? Let's explore the possibilities a bit. First, I want to have a quick section on already existing Switch games. Every Switch 1 game is completely playable on Switch 2, and it even comes with benefits. Xenoblade 2 has something called dynamic resolution. It's a method to change the resolution of a game on the spot in demanding areas and moments. This made the game docked range from 504p to 720p, but with the Switch 2 it's now at stable 720p. It also gives all the games more stable frame rates. But that's the thing, they are still only locked at 30 FPS. Nintendo announced a ton of upgrade packs for old Switch games that boost resolution and frame rates, and Xenoblade X was even data mined to have a 60 FPS mode that wasn't fully functional in the code. Why haven't we seen any Xenoblade upgrade pack yet? I was sure that at least X is gonna get a 60 FPS patch because it just released a few months ago, but it's been a month already and we haven't heard anything yet. I think this is super strange. Could they be holding out for them for a huge announcement in the next Nintendo Direct? Maybe it's Nintendo's way of spreading out game releases for this year? Is there actually a chance that we won't get anything? Not gonna lie, I'm a bit nervous about it. The games are nowhere near unplayable, but these little upgrades could bring new life to them and make them even better, and we won't have the opportunity for 10 plus years if they don't do anything with them now. Actually, I think there's a chance for one game. Speaking of 10 years, if you believe it or not, the 10-year anniversary of Xenoblade 2 is coming up. They remastered Xenoblade 1 and X exactly 10 years after the original release, so there is a good chance in my opinion that we could get the Xenoblade 2 Definitive Edition. A lot of people are against that idea. It's really only been one generation apart, it doesn't feel necessary as the other remasters because it's already playable on Switch 2, but listen, Xenoblade 2 is my favorite game of all time. And I can still say with confidence that this game needs a quality of life patch. Tutorials need to be fixed, the map navigation is outdated, menus need a shortcut, field skills need a quick menu or something, and many more little things. The game's engine barely runs on sticks and stones. We still can't even capture video on Switch 2. And this is a lot of effort for something as simple as a $10 upgrade pack. Now imagine if they make Xenoblade 2 Definitive Edition that includes Torna and also adds another additional story like Future Connected, but this time with Nia as the main focus and how she became queen in the new All Rest. Now they could easily tie in Baby Mio and so many other references to 3. We could even see them starting communication with Bionis. It would be peak fiction for Nia content alone. I would happily buy a remaster in a heartbeat. So, long story short, I'm expecting at least Xenoblade X DE to get a patch soon and hopefully 1 and 3 will follow short. And the reason they might be holding back on that info might even be that if they announce patches for every game but 2, it could kinda give away that the remaster is coming. Maybe it's just hopium, but here we are. There's one more topic to consider before we jump into the new games. I am still confident in saying that Xeno Saga remakes need to happen. The predicted X Definitive Edition happened, but that is not the only hint Future Redeemed left us. It has too many Xeno Saga references to just let that slide. 2 of the 3 games never even released in Europe to begin with. even if they are not trying to tie them directly to the named Xenoblade trilogy and have it be its own universe, they still need to explain the references to the newer generation. And I still think there's a good chance it is tied to the other games directly. Either way, remasters are in the works, mark my words. I just think that it is not completely in Monolith Soft's hands anymore. Nintendo has to collaborate with Bandai Namco to get the rights for this, so there might be difficulties there. I still think they wouldn't have collaborated on Future Redeemed and put all those references in if there wasn't anything in the works. We just have to wait patiently and see what we get. Okay, let's switch topics and talk about where the future of Xenoblade lies. After Xenoblade X Definitive Edition, we now have even more options than we initially thought. My guess was that they could tie the stories together at the end, but it seems they are willing to give X its own storyline disconnected from the numbered games. So now we have a story that could tie into Future Redeemed's ending, Xenoblade X's ending, or they are in fact one and the same, but it will be a future plot twist. I just know that there was always an easy way to tie X to the rest and don't bother anymore, but the fact that we got a whole remaster at a time like this and the ending suggests it's its own continuity, I think that an X sequel is closer than we think. This subplot of X could continue investigating the Conduit and the ancient Samar that are still relevant lore drops for the numbered games, while the numbered games could tie in with Xeno Saga and continue the Cosmos and Lost Jerusalem plotline, and they can all come together way later. But that's looking way too far into the future. We can't even get a Future Redeemed sequel if we don't get the Saga remaster first, assuming that that's where it's going. Let's step back a bit. What do I think they are working on next? Monolith Soft has a beautiful schedule that they have followed ever since Xenoblade X released on the Wii U. In 2015 we had X, then 2 years later in 2017 we had Xenoblade 2. In 2018 we got Torna, and then 2 years later we got Xenoblade 1 Definitive Edition. 2 years later in 2022 we got Xenoblade 3. Then 2023 was Future Redeemed, and then again 2 years later, in 2025, we got Xenoblade X Definitive Edition. So, I'm taking a very outlandish shot here in predicting that the next game drops in 2027. But if we take into account that game patches might be happening, and that the new hardware development might take even more time, it might slip into 2028. Xeno Saga remakes are completely independent here, so I feel like they might drop in between these years. I could even see a 2026 release, which would make the 2028 new game fall perfectly within the schedule again. I also talked about an eventual Xenoblade 2 Definitive Edition, but they don't usually do two remasters back to back, so that might be a 2030 game? Or they really don't want to remaster it because it's already playable on the system, and they might do a big patch for $20 that maybe adds the near additional story, and we could see it within the next 3 years. Now I'm actually kinda hoping for that. That's that for remasters. I have 2 suggestions for the new game moving forward. If they manage to put out Xenosaga remakes within the next 2 years, then the next big Xenoblade game in 2027/2028 is going to directly connect to Future Redeemed's ending. Monolith Soft experimenting with big sprawling cities suggests to me that there might also be a big time jump when we see the next protagonists. Our old friends might just be relegated to the history books. Or, hear me out, this is kinda a crazy headcanon fanfiction that I just came up with. Using Cosmos's encephalon memory diving or whatever is a mechanic in Saga that lets you visit memories from other people, just like Origin. We could go back into Alvis' memories one more time and actually witness the Klaus experiment within Klaus's view, with the option to explore Moritha in its prime. I would actually kill for that, but there's zero things to suggest that. It's just really what I want. Another likely scenario is a direct Xenoblade X sequel. They remastered the game on purpose. They gave us an open ending for a possible sequel already. The Switch 2 could really open up the possibilities for an even vaster open world with incredible cityscapes. You saw what they were capable of doing on the Wii U. Remastering X probably helped them to get back into the groove of making a huge open world. Long story short, there's a big chance we get X2 next. I guess it all depends on if they think X sold well enough and if the Saga remasters make it in time. Option 3 will always be that it's completely different than we thought and it's just a brand new game and we are wondering what's going on and make 100 theories on it. Okay, I have rambled enough. As always, the future of Xenoblade is brighter than it's ever been. I will be there no matter what. So what do you think of this future predictions analysis? Do you see us getting Switch 2 patches at all? Do you think we are getting X2? I wanna know where you all are standing on. So please let me know in the comments below. And while you are down there, don't forget to leave a like. Do it for Nia, man.